all the years that I've wasted trying to find it, all that I go through for my peace of mind. Let it all go out the window, no smoke in my eyes, I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. Early blue morning, when everything's cold, I see you running, all covered in gold. There's nothing else that eases my soul. I let it all go out the window, no smoke in my eyes, I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. When there are others, I do the routine, I dance all lonely, I try to be seen. Then there's a feeling, you know what I mean. I let it all go out the window, no smoke in my eyes, I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. I let it all go out the wind.
All right, welcome to Lunch Therapy. It is our favorite day, Interview Friday. I have behind me the hummingbird nest in the front of my house. As you can see, one of the hummingbirds is out of the nest. Yes, out of the nest and ready to go. I think maybe they're going to fly soon. I don't know whether it's a male or a female. I took this video just the other day. You can see it's perched out there, and I've noticed it starts to flutter its wings like it's practicing. Holy Guignol. Oh, here comes the mother. She's coming to feed the little guy. There's two of them, and this is the feeding. Just so if you haven't seen a hummingbird feed. Oh, he's warding us off, I think. There we go. I think it's a she. All right, love the music too. All right, we got Maria Hill here. Good to see you. Jose, happy interview Friday, says Jose. All right, so there's your hummingbird, your daily hummingbird. Let's get into this thing called lunch therapy. I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 Love that we have a finance guru here today. I need a finance guru for sure. Marcia, welcome to the show. This is a very interactive show, as you can tell. We're going to have a live guest, Melinda Hill. So excited. I need to start breathing because I'm a little bit jacked up about this whole thing. So let's do this. At the top of the show, we breathe. We're going to breathe with healing vibrations. If you haven't seen this show before, this is one of our favorite ways to calm down. We've got the incredible Travis Schumacher playing the crystal bowls. In this one, he plays bowls and they change color according to the chakras. The chakras. I think I've been saying it wrong. Chakras. All right, so in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Yes, Just Jay, comedian. I was so lucky to capture them getting fed by their mother. It's beautiful. Chuck Goldsmith is here. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. When am I not jacked up? That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe at the end of the breathing session. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. So needed, yes. Let it go. Good to see you here. Claster fan, relaxing sounds. Yeah, Richard Gaddis. Good morning, everyone. I hope all is well with every single one of you. Yes, we're sending out the love today to every single one of you. So let's get into this thing. We're going to do Interview Friday now. We're in the comedy club. So for those of you that want to take your comedy to the next level, we've got somebody, a role model for you. We've got Melinda Hill here today. She is a veteran comedian. She's a multifaceted, award-winning comedian and actor and a voiceover actor. Her digital series, The Program, co-created with Maria Bamford, another hilarious comedian, was named one of LA Weekly's 10 best web series. And her series, Romantic Encounters, which is hilarious, which she wrote, produced, and starred in, is recognized for outstanding acting and writing in a comedy series by LA Weekly, Web Awards, LA Web Fest, IndieWire, and LA Film Fest. So that's cool. She's also a regular at the Comedy Store. Her name is right there on the wall. So I invite you to look for it. She's a voiceover actress. She's a comedy coach. She's a consultant. She's also been seen on Netflix, on Lady Dynamite, Reno 911, Sarah Silverman Program, has performed at the Kennedy Center, on The Late Show, Bonnie Hunt Show. It just goes on and on. BBC's World Stand-Up, Comics Unleashed. Who Wants to Date a Comedian? I want to hear about that. And comedy TV. Her stand-up special, Inappropriate, is available now. We'll be able to see the trailer for it here before she comes on. The link is in the show notes to see that. It's hilarious. We're going to get into this thing now. I'm going to put this comments thing on the window there so I don't get too distracted. But if you want to make a comment, if you want to ask a question, please do so during the interview. Just try and distract us. Just try to. I'm going to be so focused today, you're not going to believe it. Here we go. Interview Friday.
TMZ called me and they're like, Louis C.K. returned to stand-up in the middle of the night. What are your thoughts on that? And I was like, I just think that the unannounced nature of his appearance was kind of sneaky and surprising, much like sexual assault. All I know is #MeTooSoon. Like, we're not really taught how to make an appropriate amends as a society unless we're women, and then we're taught how to apologize from a very young age for everything. Suni Previn, of course, is Woody Allen's wife/daughter. Suni Previn is spearheading the hashtag #MeTooSuni movement. Suni, you were raised better than that. By your husband. Touché, NPR's Elsa Chang. Hashtag #MeTooShay soon. I think we keep recreating our trauma until we heal it, and it's coming up for healing now.
Melinda Hill, welcome to Lunch Therapy. Hi. Oh my gosh.
Very exciting. What
Very
a cool setup you have here. Do you do all this yourself? It's impressive.
I have an assistant. His name is Boney. He's a plastic skeleton. So he does a lot of the work and a lot of the complaining. I also have Blas Lorenzo, who helps me out on the show, and then people like you, which are the real lifeblood of this show. And on top of it, we have a chat room. They call themselves the Hummingbirds. Please feel free to talk to them. Don't let them bite you.
Okay. I mean, how do you do all of this? Like, how long have you been doing this? What's your story?
My story?
It's very impressive. Like, how do you
Thanks.
know all this technology stuff?
It's a long story, but I started doing computers because I wanted to put videos on the internet, but this was like, I don't know, in the 90s. And that's when I started messing around with this stuff. So I've been kind of, doing it for a long time, but I also for a while was a freelance computer consultant. So I've kind of have that in my repertoire, I guess. And I always thought that media and computers were going to merge at some point. I used to tell people, someday your computer is going to be attached to your lamp, which is attached to your television and, all those different things. So I've been always kind of on the bleeding edge of it, I guess. And when COVID hit, I was like, I can't go out and do stand-up in the clubs. What am I going to do? And so I started this Lunch Therapy, and it's been kind of growing ever since.
That is very cool. And so how long has it been going? 2 years?
Yeah. Howard Aronin says Melinda is interviewing Marshall. Yeah. I'll let this happen for a little while. It's been going on for 3 years. We just hit 3 years on March 15th. When I first began, what I did was I just talked to YouTube. I was just like, okay, let's see if I can live stream to YouTube. And it was kind of a disaster because, it wasn't a disaster, but it was like my internet kept falling out and it was all pixelated and all that stuff. And I was doing about a half an hour of stand-up every day. And of course, I didn't know what to talk about after a while. I was doing it every day. And that's when the Hummingbirds joined in. And then I started making it more interactive and saying like, what is this that's different from, traditional stand-up? And how can we interact more? And how can we, find an audience this way? So it's been developing as it goes. And one more thing, I used to have a podcast. One of the first podcasts was called Fat Free Film. And we used to interview filmmakers. We used to go to their homes and interview them. And so I'm kind of used to the long form interview, I guess. There you have it.
Okay. And did the filmmakers have to be fat or was that optional?
That was optional. No. Okay. So that's the thing. Wasn't like fat phobic. What it was we were back then, well, it's called Fat Free Film, by the way, which people don't necessarily even use film anymore. But the idea was for independent filmmakers to cut the fat from their projects.
Ooh, I love that. I was thinking more like punny, like PHAT, like they have to be fat. Like
yeah, like PHAT, yeah.
But that's really cool. And so at what point were you kind of like, wow, daily is a lot. I'm going to slow my roll to once a week. Or is it still daily 3 years in?
No, I did it daily for maybe a couple of months or maybe a month. I don't know. I'd have to look back. And then I, was like, I'm going to take Sundays off. And then I was like, well, maybe I should try and do the show longer in, a couple times a week. So now we do it Tuesday and Friday. And Friday is the interviews, and Tuesday is like a variety show.
Wow, I am really impressed that you have sustained this for 3 years,
Thank
twice
you.
weekly. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, what does that look like for you hours wise every week? Or do you
I
have a
think I think I
system?
probably spent about 6 hours on every show, which
That's
is a lot.
incredible.
And so, yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how I can do that, in less time. So I'm always trying to do it in less time, but also trying to make it 1% better every time,
Do you
try.
have like a team who handles the graphics or someone who's supporting you in any way? Or is it just you out here generating this content every week? Because I watched a couple and I'm very impressed.
Thanks. It is me, and Boney. I mean, I got to give Boney some credit. He's a
Oh my
plastic skeleton,
gosh.
and
And what are you going to do with it right now? Are you just doing it for your own fun? Like, what are you getting out of it? Are you
I
just
love that you are asking me these questions, and I am going to start interviewing you soon. But I love that you're inquisitive about it. What I would like to do with it is I would like to figure out a way to make money doing this. So clearly, it's all my money and time right now. But I kind of feel like I love doing it, which is one thing. I just love doing it.
that's great.
And I try to monetize it, try to do everything that I can to find that. But I figure I might find it like one step at a time, like one penny at a time. I don't know. And that's one of the reasons why I like having you on the show, because you're somebody who has developed projects. You have done things on your own. You've produced things on your own. You're a writer. Maybe that's where I turn this over to you and say, how do you do that? How do you take something? Because you've had things on television. You've had your own series. Can you tell us what your process is to kind of make that kind of magic happen?
Totally. I mean, which one?
Yeah.
Okay, one last question. Do you
Yeah,
have a Patreon where your fans can contribute to your
I
podcast or
do.
do you not? Okay, that's great.
I do.
Okay. I and is your Patreon lunch therapy or is it Joel?
Look, we just made $20 right now. Super sticker. Thank you very much for that, Todd Lee. Yes, I appreciate that.
It's all
Um,
happening.
it's all
Yeah,
happening.
because this is an incredible undertaking and I love that you're getting so much out of it because you love doing it and it seems like you're learning a lot. Like I
Mhm.
watched a couple and they're really good interviews. So that's also very valuable.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know which one. Where do we
Okay.
start? I know I've
Let's
always
start.
liked going
Let's
into
start, and we'll get to that. Okay. It'll be like a teaser. We're going to find out how she does that somewhere in the show. Let's just start with you and how you got into comedy. I kind of know a lot. I know you grew up in 27 different locations. So you're not like necessarily from some specific place, but you think, you identify with Colorado, I think, as being
yeah, I
where you're
love
from.
Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we did move a lot growing up.
Hmm.
But I really consider LA my home. I do love it here, and I got into comedy through acting. So I had an acting scholarship, and I was always doing plays, and
And was
I've
that in
always
Kansas where you had
it
the
was in
scholarship?
Kansas.
Okay.
And I loved doing it was called forensics in school where you would go on the weekends and give speeches and debate and stuff like that. So I've always been super into writing. I've been writing since I was like as soon as I could write.
Really?
And I've been a voracious reader. I love writing and I just also love performing.
And were you
So
like a cut up in school, or because you probably had to make friends really fast because you were going from one different places to
I
flittering
was
around like a hummingbird.
yes, nice callback there,
Thanks.
tying it all in.
Yeah.
Um, I was very, very, very shy. So it was really hard for me to talk to people.
Uh-huh.
However, that's why, acting really saved my life, because whenever we went to a new school, if there was a play auditioning,
Mhm.
I would get a part in the play. And then I felt like that was such a great way to make friends, because I could be someone else who
Yeah.
had a personality and who could talk, and wasn't, so that was a way for me to express myself and to find other like-minded people who were into theater and
Hmm.
creatives. And then my mom, fortunately, made me join a sport, which was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I did not like sports. So I
Hmm.
joined cross country running,
Nice.
because then I wouldn't have to interact with anyone. However, it gave me so much. It gave me so much. Like, our coach would have us visualize the races, so I began visualizing. I got that cardio. I come from a big family of runners, so really thinking of things in terms of the long game,
Hmm.
endurance,
Yeah.
um, drive, preparing yourself, because that's really what show business is. It's a marathon. It's
It
not a
is a
race.
marathon, isn't it? I mean, it really is. And you have to learn how to pace yourself in it,
Yeah,
right?
and you
And you have to learn
gotta
how to take vacations and do things like not just be like just driving all the time. And I think that probably is one of those things. So, sports, you said that you didn't want to do like a team sport. I mean, it was kind of a team, but you were doing something kind of individual.
I
Are you
didn't wanna
like
do a
that?
team sport
Yeah.
because I was very shy, and so I didn't wanna have to interact with other people.
Hmm.
But, my mom made me join a sport. So first I joined soccer in
Uh-huh.
4th grade, but there
Yeah.
were no other girls, so I joined. It was the all boys team, and
Wow.
it seemed like whenever the ball went in the air, it would hit me in the head. So it was really just like a whole season of humiliation and just being really bad at something.
Soccer
And
was
then,
hard. Soccer is
yeah,
hard. I mean, you have to do
the
everything with your
tornadoes.
feet and people kicking in the shins, and it's terrible.
Exactly. And we were called the tornadoes.
The tornadoes.
And then, basketball was sort of the same, where I only made one basket the entire season. However, it was the free throw that not only won the game, but won the season.
All right.
So
It's not how many you make, it's the important ones that you make,
it's
right?
quality, not quantity. Exactly, Joel.
Yes.
So, but that did teach me some teamwork. But
Hmm.
then I joined cross country, so I wouldn't have to talk to anyone. But you still need to interact as a team, and those
Yeah.
skills would serve me my whole life. Learning to work as a team member, and lift others up, and show up for a team,
It makes such
and
a
it was
difference. It
great.
makes such a difference when people are team players, especially when you're doing something like improv. Like I think is that where you started doing comedy? Was improv? Or did you do stand up before then?
I did stand up. I was in acting school, and a friend in acting school was a stand up. So he kept encouraging me to do stand up, because um, because he just thought, I think you'll be really good at this. And he had a show at the Comedy Store. And so I went to his show, and he introduced me to the booker and lied and said, Melinda's a comedian and you should book her in your show.
No way.
And the booker said, okay, you're on in 2 weeks. And
Wow.
then I had 2 weeks to come up with this stand-up set. And it, and I would run jokes by people, and they would be like really scared for me, like, "Ooh, you're not going to say that, are you?" And nobody could see it. And so I just kept moving forward. And then I showed up at this show. It was sold out show in the belly
God.
room at
No
the Comedy
way.
Store.
Wow.
I was so nervous.
Your first time doing stand up.
First time. I was so nervous. My heart was beating out of my chest. And oh my God, I wanted to get out of it. And I was wearing like a blue suit because I thought comedians wore suits. I didn't know anything about comedy. My brothers always watched comedy, but I was like this,
Yeah.
serious actress, like
Right.
twin David Lynch actress. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
saw myself.
Yeah.
And those were the parts I was always getting. I was always getting the woman crying,
Wow. Yeah.
in a nightgown. And so all of a sudden I'm at the Comedy Store and I couldn't like even hear what was going on because I was so nervous. But my friend was there from acting school and
Mm-hmm.
he gave me a little tip before I went up. He said, just reference something the comedian before you said, and that will, be acknowledging what's in the room, and it'd be like a quick laugh. So
Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything this comedian before me was saying because I was so nervous, and the only thing I grasped was that they said they lost their arm at a barbecue or something. There was a joke. And so I went up and said, I was at that barbecue and I thought something tasted weird.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I
It
love
worked
that.
and it got a laugh. And then from there, I proceeded to just commit to the jokes that I had written the last
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks. And I crushed. I had this amazing set, which happens to stand-ups a lot, I hear, where you have a great first set and then you
Uh-huh.
don't have a good second set. So that's exactly what happened to me. I had a great first set. I felt on top of the world. Everyone was, coming up to me. It was so fun. I was on cloud nine. And then from there, someone asked me to do another show. So I went back to the next show like 2 weeks later. And I didn't understand you have to do the same jokes that already
Mm.
work.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't really prepare for it. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I bombed. There was hardly anyone at that second show. Either it wasn't like sold out, but that scared me from doing stand up for about another 4 years. I didn't
4
do it again.
years, really? Wow.
And
That's interesting.
during that time, I
Mm-hmm.
went and did the whole Groundlings program. So I went through the
Oh, yeah.
entire sketch and improv program, kept getting advanced.
For people that don't know about the Groundlings is an improv institution here in Los Angeles, and a lot of the people from Saturday Night Live come out of there. A lot of the great your favorite actors come out of there. So anyway, yes. So you did the whole, and they have a whole program, right? You did the whole program.
They have a whole program. It took many years to do because there's so many waiting lists and so many people wanting to do it, and the demand exceeds the supply. So in that time of advancing, but that's where I learned how to write. I mean, I already knew how to act and I'd been writing since like second grade, but that's where I learned how to write character monologues, characters. So, to answer a long way of answering your
Yeah.
question is that I've always created characters and voices since I was like 4. I would hit the tennis ball against the garage door and for hours and make up characters, make up family trees,
Really?
make up names.
Yeah.
It was my entertainment. I would make up all these families. It'd be interacting.
Were those the friends that always went with you when you were traveling around the country with your
Well,
family?
they were different every time, but I do think it was definitely a coping skill for sure because I
Mhm.
felt so lonely and so trapped that I wasn't able to talk to the other kids.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, they were like my little friends. It kept me company. It kept me occupied. And I
Mhm.
didn't understand that that was a job.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you
so
didn't know it was a job. Yeah. But
I
it's an
didn't know
actual job.
anyone in show business. I didn't know
Yeah.
one person. I was growing up in Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming. I didn't know anyone who did this. So nobody in my family, certainly. So I would write little plays and cast my brothers in the parts and entertain my mom. And,
Mhm.
I've always been doing that before I even knew what it was. So
So did
when
the Groundlings give you like a technique?
Yeah, the Groundlings was really just like you're gonna do, you'd have assignments and
Hmm.
you learn improv and you learn sketch and you learn to write character monologues with and then if you're passed up through, you get to keep continuing with them, and then you get that opportunity to perform your stuff.
Hmm.
um, Only if you get to writer's lab, though. They cut you before writer's lab, you're not going to get
So
to
they
perform.
cut people too at this place?
Yeah, they cut most people.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a badge of honor to be cut from a program. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. Prepare for stardom if you're cut.
yeah, exactly. Lots of people have been cut from
Because you're
programs
on
that
your
just went
own.
on to kill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're on your own journey. But that
Yeah.
was where I learned that I'm really good at writing characters
Wow.
and unhinged characters. And my teacher, Tim Bagley, said, "You're really good at this, and you should keep doing it." And so I simultaneously was taking writing classes at the UCLA Extension Writers Program.
Mhm.
I was waitressing at the whiskey bar in the Sunset Marquis in
Wow.
Hollywood, West Hollywood.
Hmm.
And it was this great job. And I only had to work 4-hour shift. It was like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. And sometimes it would go to 3. And you know, I I at that time worked with this great group of people, one of whom ran stand-up shows, and he taught me essentially how to run a show. And
Okay.
I would go up and down the Sunset Strip
Hmm.
because my manager would let me go watch comedy. So I would go watch stand-up because there was a wait between um, in the Groundlings, there was a wait between the third and fourth level, and
Hmm.
it was like 2 years wait.
What? You just had to, oh, because it was like so packed or something?
Yeah. So
Wow.
during that time, I was like, well, I got to do something. So I created my
Yeah.
own sketch show.
Hmm.
And then that was a ton of work, ton of wigs, ton of
Is this a
characters.
live sketch show or
Was a
what?
live sketch show
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Hmm.
And then I was also doing regular plays. So I was doing like Three Sisters. I was playing Irina at crying every night in this antiquated Russian, esque
Love it.
language,
Yeah. I love it.
which was amazing training.
Hmm.
And then I was still playing all the crying girls. And then
Yeah.
I went um, and started stand up. I was like, I'm going to do stand up again. And
How did you start? Yeah.
I went back to, there was a show, um, there was a show at Amagi Sushi in the Gower Gulch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a little show. I don't remember how I got on it, but I went and you had to bring people. I
Yeah.
brought like
Of
5
course.
people.
Yeah.
And then I loved it. And then they
What?
put me on another show in
Yeah.
the Ice House.
Yeah.
And
That's where a lot of comedians get their start is the Ice House, for sure. It's a great
yeah,
place.
and then from there, I just started my own show, and I just started doing it like, you know, 5 times a week, just doing stand up like 5 times a week. So I kind
Where?
of was all
Wow.
in at that.
I love that. Where were you doing your show? Your show? Was it something you put on in a particular place, or did it go to different places?
It was in different places.
Yeah.
Let's see, it started in Los Feliz
Hmm.
at a place called Tiger Lily.
Yeah.
Have you
So
heard of it?
is okay? You had a show called "What's Up, Tiger Lily," right? It was a
Mhm.
live show. See, I didn't know about this, so I never saw it, but I've heard about it, and I've heard that all these great comedians came through there. Can you tell us about that? Is that what you're talking about? What's Up, Tiger
Yeah.
Lily?
Yeah, so I started a show with Maria Bamford and Natasha Leggero,
Hmm.
and um, so that we would have well, I was in New York doing shows with Tig Notaro. I was opening for her. And then during that time, Maria called me. Maria
Mhm.
had been living in Australia. Maria Bamford had been
Yeah.
living in Australia for about a year. And we were
Mhm.
driving back from seeing Kristen Wiig on Saturday Night Live because Kristen and I had been in the Groundlings together. So I
Mhm.
was in New York. So I went to see the taping of SNL with Kristen, and it was so awesome. And then Maria called and said she had been in Australia for a year, dating someone there,
Mhm.
and she was ready to come back to Los Feliz, and she wanted to just do a casual weekly show
Mhm.
in Los Feliz, where we all lived. We all lived in that neighborhood. I still do. I live in Silver Lake,
Nice.
so yeah, I love it over here.
It's
So
great
at
over
that
there.
time, yeah, it's amazing. So I said, why don't we? At the time, I was writing a column
Mhm.
for a magazine, and I had gone in to write about this place, Tiger Lily, because another friend wanted to go there, and I could always bring my friends when I
Mhm.
wrote about the
Yeah.
food. Um, so I was trying to read the comments. I'm just going to focus on you.
That's fine.
I called this Tiger Lily place,
Mhm.
and I said, I wrote about your hey, remember me? I just wrote about your place.
Yeah.
Um, we want to do a comedy show. How would you
Mhm.
feel about a weekly comedy show? They said, great, come do it. So we
Wow,
didn't
that's
have any,
cool. Yeah.
we didn't have anything. We just started it with, we said, okay, Natasha will book the show and Maria will, host the show, and then I will promote the show because I'm really good with marketing.
Mm.
So we thought, oh, it's a weekly show in LA. It'll last about a month, because weekly shows are impossible. They're too much work.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, it just picked up steam. It was all these people started coming. The fans were amazing. They built the show. Like, first, we didn't have a microphone. Like, Maria Bamford brought her karaoke machine. So the comics
Yeah.
were speaking into the karaoke machine mic. And then one of the fans brought a big light from Home Depot that was like blinding everyone because it was so bright.
Did you
And
have a
then,
stage?
no, we didn't have any of
Just
that.
on the floor.
And yeah, so then we just did the show weekly. It was very popular. It ran for 10 years.
10
And during
years. Wow.
10 years, and during
Yeah.
that time, it was at Tiger Lily and then we asked the fans. There was a site called A Special Thing. So we asked the fans, what do you want to name this show? And they
Okay.
said, What's Up, Tiger Lily? And that's how we got the name. And the idea was we would just work on material every week in a
Yeah.
fun place. Um, and then from there, we moved from Tiger Lily to another location, the Gower Gulch,
Gower
right
Gulch.
next
Oh, you went
to,
there. Yeah. Oh.
and actually in the exact same, oh no,
Right
yeah, in the
next to
exact
what? Right next to what was it next to?
the exact same place where I started
Oh,
stand
it's
up.
right next to that exact same place.
Yeah, it
That's
was next
great.
door, and there was free parking, and every week we would just do the show, and then I started another show before that show called the Happy Hour Story Experiment, and then we moved to IO West, and
Mhm.
then Matt Besser came to the IO West show,
Mhm.
and he said, "This
This
place sucks. Uh, why don't you come over to UCB?"
really.
And so, or he didn't
This
say it
place
sucks.
sucks. Right.
He said, it's hard to park and this and that.
Yeah.
Why don't you come bring your show over to UCB? Which was very generous of him because a
Mhm.
lot of people wanted to get their show into UCB. So they opened their new location, UCB
Yeah.
Sunset, and we were
Mhm.
there. And then I think we were at the Bootleg. I mean, it moved like 5 places. And then,
This is so
that's the whole story.
interesting because a lot of us, like as comedians, we want to, get more stage time, and we also want to be in the community. This is actually Lunch Therapy. This show grew out of my show that I was doing in Los Feliz at a place called Trenchers, which was a sandwich restaurant that my
Where's
friend.
that?
Well, it's no longer around anymore, but it was just right there in Los Feliz. And my friend Harlan Gleason, he owned a part of this restaurant. So he was like, well, we should do, and he's a comedian. And we were like, and Cynthia Levin. So the three of us got together and we made this show, and it was so much fun. And we just, the pandemic killed us. What happened? It killed that restaurant and killed our show. And that's really why I started Lunch Therapy, because our show is called Laugh Therapy.
Oh, that's great.
And so I was like, well, I've got to keep this thing going. I got to keep something going. So that's one of the reasons this is called Lunch Therapy. But it was so, let's see, Matt says, I love how punk rock this is. Don't wait for permission. Make your own show and find a venue. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Exactly.
The thing that I loved about that too was it was a small venue. So we didn't have to we weren't so pressured to fill a 200 seat, venue. And there was good food. So people wanted to come, and you felt free to experiment with your material a little more than.
Yeah, that's great. And what was the cross streets?
Oh, I wish I knew. I don't know. I know how to get there. I don't spend that much time in Los Feliz, so it would be hard for me to tell you.
That's gold. Having
Yeah.
your own stage time and your own community, your own thing that you create, just like Matt just said,
Yeah.
is that's gold, because stage time can be so hard to get in LA. And then sometimes it's so high pressure because there's, so many high stakes, and you need that place that can be your gym,
Yeah.
where it can just be casual and fun, and you can have, hang out with your friends, and it's kind of was our Cheers, where everybody knows your name and you walk in.
And it's so great too, because you build a community of comedians too, because you bring people in and out of your show, and then they put you in their shows and all that stuff. I'm definitely starting that up again.
Oh,
From what you said.
It was really special. And it's great that you're doing this too, because this lives forever. So it's immortalizing your legacy. And I think that's really smart, because live shows, come and go, but having that community is everything. And, when I later shot my series and my specials and things, I was able to use the location where we did my show for, some of the shoot. And I was able to use a lot of the talent that I met at the show. So it really was, it was a wonderful time.
It's
also
great,
just
isn't it?
experimenting.
Yeah. They, this is where it was, 1305 Portia Street, Los Angeles.
Okay.
Portia Street. It was off
Thanks,
Sunset,
Carl.
I believe. I don't know. Anyway, it was super fun. But yeah, I need to find another venue and get that going again. Some of my, a lot of the people that I've had on the show were, did that show as well. So now tell me, how then did you start to develop your own shows? So the ones that I've seen are so good. The one that I really enjoy is the one about what is it called? Sorry, it's about dating. It's about your love life. The Romantic Encounters with Melinda Hill, right?
Yeah, Romantic Encounters with Melinda Hill. Thank you so much.
I love that.
Appreciate your comments. So that really started, I was doing Sit and Spin, which is a...
I went to that a few times. Super
Oh,
fun.
did you?
Yes.
It's a
And I
great...
love your Sit and Spin about your America's Got Talent experience.
Oh,
That is
thank
hilarious. I watched that. I mean, and it was so well done. And I love the way you turned something that was maybe traumatic into just a great stand-up that everybody can understand, or a great story everybody can understand and relate to.
Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate that. And that's what I love about comedy, is that we do have the power to alchemize our trauma into comedy and into laughter, into treasure, right? And so we have that ability, that gift to take something, turn pain into punchlines.
It's like magic. It's magic.
Yeah, It's like magic. So, well, a lot of things started at the Sit and Spin
Yeah.
show
Hmm.
because I love that show. It was co-founded by Maggie Rowe and Joey Soloway.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, Bilo, yes. I You have to write a 10-minute essay and read it. And
Yeah.
that is my favorite. That's how a lot of things start for me, is with that 10-minute essay. That's
Hmm.
actually how a lot of things. So I would go read it there. So I would read these dating stories.
Hmm.
Um, I was doing them then in my stand up, and
Hmm.
then I started to do a one person show. And I had a reading of my one person show at this
Hmm.
place called The Strange. I
Hmm.
started my own storytelling show. I started so many shows, but I started my own story show at The Strange called, I think we were calling that one Story Time or Story Experiment or something. But so I would just develop these things in my own show. I would just read
Yeah.
them, and then I had this reading, and Taylor Negron came, and he was a really good friend of
He was
mine. And
great. He was performing the time I went to see Sit and Spin. Yeah, he was a great performer. Gone
yeah,
too early. Gone too early.
yeah. And that was such a fun scene that Maggie created, Sit and Spin, because everyone would read these, heartfelt pieces that were poignant as well as funny. And then we would all go out after and celebrate. So it was a really special night. So from that vibe, I created my one person show, which was called Marriage Material, because it was a lot of dating stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got, a little tour together. I performed it at Comedy Central stage, and then I performed it around Hawaii, like headlined,
In
at the
Hawaii? You mean the state of Hawaii? Wow.
Maui Arts and Culture Center, and
How cool.
there was a place in Honolulu, and yeah, it was great. And then um, I from there was going to make a special, but two different companies had um, kind of like we're making your special, and then had like folded, so it wasn't happening. And then I wrote it as a series. So um, I wrote it as like what the episodes would be, like a one sheet, like what you
Yeah.
sell a series with.
Hmm.
And I pitched it. I was pitching another project with the director of my one person show. Um, and I had this pitch ready, and Comedy Central bought it, so they were going to make the series. However, in the time of that, before we got the contract signed, the executives switched, and
Hmm.
the new executive didn't want to move forward
Mm.
with the series.
Yeah.
So my managers at the time at Brillstein said, "Hey, Melinda, just make it yourself. Just grab someone with a camera and make the series
They
yourself."
told you to
So
do that. Really? That's great.
mhm.
I mean, they
They
were
said
one of the greatest managers around, right? I mean, wasn't that like the best place to be at the time?
it was, yeah. They're great.
Yeah.
And so, they have a long legacy of managing comedians.
Yeah.
Um, and they've done a lot. They've contributed a lot to the comedy world. But that was a great suggestion, because I then was like, okay, make it yourself, make it. And I had made my own short films and stuff, and I'd, written features and all that stuff. But I just made a list of directors I knew off the top of my head,
Yeah.
and one of whom had just directed something I was in, that Jonathan Schmock. Um, no, Jonathan Schmock had directed it.
Hmm.
Claudia Lanau's boyfriend had directed it, and then anyway, whatever. I went to this
Yeah.
list, and the first person
Hmm.
I went to was Adam Franklin, and who
Mm.
I'd met on this project I just done. And I thought, I'll go meet with this list of directors and see who wants to do this. And I had like a list of 10 names. And the first one was Adam. And we went to Nature Well on Sunset. And he said, I read it. I love it. Let's make it.
Nice.
And so
Nice.
I said, I'm going to Italy for my
Hmm.
brother's wedding in 5 days, to Florence. And then I'm going to New York to do America's Got Talent. So I
Hmm.
said, I have 5 days and I want to shoot all 3 episodes in before I leave. And he said, great, let's do it.
All
I said,
3 episodes.
I have 5 days and $200 and I want to make
Yeah.
3 episodes.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? And
And
yeah,
he was just crazy enough
to
or
make it
brilliant
happen.
enough to say, yeah, let's do it. And
Can we watch a couple of clips from that? I've got a couple
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I think the first one is actually from another series called The Program. But let's just watch a couple of clips.
Okay, cool.
Hi,
Fun.
I'm Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey. I'm currently transitioning out of the sex industry.
Don't.
Thank you. And I date to eat. My vision is all of my bills are paid by a very wealthy man. It's like I don't know they exist. And I'm earning $1 million net. Minimum net. That's what I learned here. Net.
I was told that I only have 10 years to live.
Oh my God, when?
10 years ago.
Jesus.
I know. So I need a wife ASAP, and I'm asking you, will you be that wife? So will you marry me?
I think I will.
I actually just, I got a text. I got a text from my first choice girl, and she said yes. So I'm gonna go with her.
What?
I've been talking with God Almighty, and I think He wants me to fly solo.
Oh, like take flying lessons?
Like a plane for one.
Like take flying lessons, but in a tiny plane.
I think God Almighty would like me to be with someone more pure.
Oh, like someone who eats organic.
No, more like somebody who hasn't been with every filthy penis in town.
They are shitty photos of balls. Where did you get these printed? Kinko's?
No, it is now called FedEx Office.
That is hilarious. I love that. Now, so were most of those from romantic encounters except the first one? Is that right?
Yeah.
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 Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. I love the scenes. The scenes are so well written. They're so well acted. You're such a good actor. Like you're such a well-rounded performer. It's just
Thank
great
you,
to watch,
Joel.
you know? And then it was shot beautifully as well. I mean, obviously that you got a great director and it looks so professional and it is so professional. And yeah, I just love it.
Yeah, Adam Franklin did an amazing job. He directed and edited
Yeah.
them, so it's gorgeous. Blaine Dunkley shot them. I think he did 5D, but I could be wrong. Well, the first 3 for 200 are no budget, but then the subsequent ones we had a little budget from a crowd fund we did too.
You did.
And then we had a producer come on board. So we were able to make those look really gorgeous. Yeah.
And you made some of them seem like they were written out of your stand-up. Like the one, and I didn't show that one, the one with the creepy guy who you met on a dating app or whatever. That's like from your stand-up as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I started doing those stories in my stand-up, and then I did them as a one-person show.
Yeah.
I think, and then we filmed them as a web series, a digital series, which was acquired by 53 countries through our French distributor.
Wow.
We had a wonderful production company out of New York who helped us see those through post-production. And, it was sort of acquired by, translated into other languages and really found like a wonderful global audience. And so that really was, that's what, like, that's why I tell people, like, your stories are your gold. If something weird happened to you, like, thank the universe, because that is your gold that you can turn into your stand-up set, your killer essay, your TED Talk, your series, your film. It could be your one-person show. It could be your album, your Audible book. So it's like to really think of those incidents and give them. I didn't know that those little weird stories of weird dates that happened to me that felt so painful at the time would turn into all these other things. But my director of my one-person show, we were looking for more material. We didn't have enough material for the whole show.
Mhm.
He was like, "What other weird things have happened to you?" And I mentioned the hand job Hamlet incident, and I was like, "But I would never be able to say that out loud. It's too embarrassing, and I don't even know if those words are allowed in the airway,
Yeah.
And he was like, "You have to tell that story. You have to." So he was great because he had written like on Saturday Night Live, and he had like a ton of comedy experience from Second City, directing stuff there and directing Bob Odenkirk and Sarah Silverman and everything. So I trusted him over my own fear to share those humiliating stories.
Yeah.
And Handjob Hamlet, it became a whole episode in Romantic Encounters starring Kirk Fox, who played it chef's kiss so brilliantly, so
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a clip of that, but he knocked that out of the park. And
Yeah.
that was and that's why I think it's so beneficial to us as comedians to tell those stories in our stand-up, because it really behooves you to find the laughs ahead of the shoot,
Yeah.
from workshopping and on stage.
Mhm.
That translates so beautifully into a scripted scene
I love that.
that,
Yeah.
you know where the laughs are, of course, and then obviously surrounding myself with brilliant actors, comedians, director, and editor. I did not do it alone, but they all made that material sing and brought
So
it to life.
interesting. I was recently watching, you made an allusion to him. Seems to be a lot of allusions to Woody Allen today, but regardless of the way he conducts his life. But I was rewatching Annie Hall, and I noticed he's got a lot of his stand-up jokes in it that he just kind of says in scenes. But you don't realize that they have. I mean, as like a kid when I saw it, I didn't realize that he had workshopped a lot of those lines as stand-up, which is really great. It's really great. So can you tell us? I want to, because we're kind of running out of time, but I want to ask you now about crafting your own special. That's something that you do and you've done, and the link is in the show notes. Everybody has to see that if they haven't seen it. But also, like, how do you craft it, and how do you help others to craft their special? Because you do that as well, right?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned that my special was bought twice, but not actually made. So it was very frustrating and long journey.
Yeah.
However, and then I ended up just making it myself, which ultimately I feel, because has kind of been my recurring lesson in life, is like, don't wait on other people, and like take the power back and just make it happen on your own. And so I realized I really wanted to make my special, and I really feel like it happened in the best timing, where if it had been made 10 years before when the other people were going to make it, it wouldn't have been the same special.
Yeah.
It would have been a series of funny, tragic dating stories. But because I made it, right before the pandemic, I had a new perspective. I had more to offer. I had more of a gift to offer the audience, I feel, which was like, hey, I'm not just, accidentally meeting all these chaotic people.
Yeah.
I need to look at, if I'm dating unavailable people, it's because I'm unavailable.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
to look at, like, what can I change in myself in order to have a new experience. So that's what the whole show was about, was like really offering, like, hey, here's some things I learned. Here's my journey. So it wasn't just like bad dates, an hour of bad dates. It was like, I used to have this kind of date, and then I realized this stuff in EMDR therapy, and I realized I had trauma that I was recreating. And if we don't heal our trauma, we're going to keep recreating it. And then now I'm having like this new experience. So that, to me, I felt like was more of a gift to offer. The viewer was like that deeper perspective of time and of wisdom that wouldn't have occurred in the first special. So
Yes.
yeah, Yeah. So I think, if something's not happening for you right now and you're getting impatient, you're like, where's mine? And why does everyone else have it? It's like, trust the process. There might be a better time for you to share this message when you know a little
You
more,
might be still marinating, or you might be still like a fine wine aging, but truly. So it's deeper. You do say that in your show. You like state your purpose as a stand-up performer, which I think is really great. And it's different from maybe a lot of stand-up performers. You know what I mean? You're trying to, I forget the words that you used. I was looking for it, but what did you say? Like you're healing people, or you're trying to do something for the audience, right?
Yeah, really. I did. I stated my intention. I said, I'm
Yeah.
looking for love. I'm looking for self-love, and I want to have the confidence of a Vegas magician.
I love that when you do that.
And and then I go into the magic.
Yeah,
But
I love the
I
magic.
really wanted to state the intention up front that
Yeah.
I am interested in doing comedy that is healing, that's enlightening, that's empowering, that's
Yeah.
inspiring people to live their best lives through
That's what
music.
I was referring to. Comedy that heals, inspires, and transforms.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
that's great.
thanks.
Yeah. I love that, because some people are just looking for laughs, trying to get
You know,
laughs.
and laughs is great, and laughs is
Hmm.
therapy. That's why
Yeah,
we're all here,
of course.
laughter therapy. Um, that's amazing, but I guess I'm just, as a storyteller, more interested in offering some kind of transformation and some kind of inspiration for the audience to um, I guess I'm talking, when I'm doing this, my comedy, I'm talking to a younger me,
Hmm.
um, like what I would have loved to have known. And so I'm
Yeah.
sharing without being didactic. I'm just trying to share some stuff I
I
learned.
love that. I love that. I mean, my favorite comedians um, are like that. You know what I mean? They are trying to have some kind of transformative experience for themselves and the audience. I mean, and it might sound highfalutin, but what the hell? Shoot for it. See what you can do. You know what I mean? Gary Shandling talks about it, in his diaries, in that brilliant documentary about his Zen kind of exploration through comedy. And I think I think a lot of people, it's a journey worth having. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think you just want to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And as I grew as a human, my comedy changed.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like one-liners, like following the laughter, but it was like getting intentional with the message I wanted to impart. And so that's how that one came to be. I decided ultimately to produce it, write
Hmm.
it, direct it, and perform it myself. I had
Hmm.
a couple of producers come on board who helped with the financial aspect and Comedy Dynamics distributed it. Um, they put it everywhere. I think it's like
Yeah.
available. I don't even know all the
Yeah.
places. It's now an
Hmm.
album, it's a special, it's an Audible book. Um, so now I'm creating my next one, and I realized that nobody was really teaching how to do this. So
Hmm.
while I've been teaching stand up and creative coaching for years, I thought this is another thing I could offer. So I did a 1-day workshop, and I got so much interest that I now started taking clients to help them create and star in their own
I love
comedy
that.
special.
I love that so much. I'm
Yeah,
interested.
it's been really fulfilling.
Yeah.
I guess I just love to help people who are, you know, oh, I think I froze there. But I think, my sort of niche is helping people who want to like star in their own
Hmm.
thing. To sort of everything from creation, ideation to pre-pro to post, of sort
Hmm.
of empowering yourself to um, to be, the star in your own thing,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
not without having to be chosen. And that's not saying I don't want to be chosen. Like, I love when
Being
people
chosen is
offer me
great.
roles.
Yeah. But
Being
who
chosen is
wants,
great. I love when people
yeah.
offer me roles. I love, getting roles through auditions. But the most roles I've gotten are from me playing myself and then other people going, oh, you can do that? Why come do that in my thing?
Yes, of
Can
course.
we,
Plus, also, you meet so many people because you've given them the gift of a character that they can play. That's the other thing. It's like you not only can you create roles for yourself, but then you can create them for other people that are like greatly talented, and maybe even underused.
that's my favorite thing, Joel, is
Yeah.
just writing to someone's strengths and talents. And I mean, I think in dialogue all day. So
Yeah.
like, everything's scripting all day. I'm getting all these downloads. I always have like 10 ideas at one time. And
Yeah.
it's really my challenge is just making time management, time to get all this stuff done because I only have limited hours in my day. But I love creating worlds just like I did when I was like growing up, hitting the ball against the
Yeah.
wall, making
Yeah.
characters. I love creating worlds and putting really talented people in those worlds, and bringing it to life.
I love that too. And it's so great to see you doing it. It's almost like, I've gone through on a journey with your work this week. And it's like so much that I'm just so impressed with all the different things that you do. And also the way you let it flow. You really like have found a way to like keep it going and sustain it. And it just gets better and better. So I just really hats off to you for what the work that you've been doing. It's very inspiring to people like me. I do want to. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You too. You're killing
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
What are your dreams? What do you really want to do?
Oh, you're going to ask me that. Let me take a look at your website real quick. I just want to tell people, go to the website, melindahill.com, because you can see all these different things that I'm talking about. And you can also hear other interviews with her. And you can see, where she's going, what's happening, and keep up to date with her. So please do that. As far as I'm concerned, I am looking for a way to be sustainable as well in what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I love the community of it. I love comedians. I love working with actors. I love acting. And I want to be able to do that full time. And I want to be able to create and produce my own things and have people just, really my inspiration is you and people like you. Mark Maron, lots of different people. Like Mark Maron's above my head. That's why I mentioned him. But people, that are doing the same kind of things that are like kind of grassroots and also are open to being chosen as well. It's not like a, fuck you people, I'll go play with my ball in my backyard. But it's like, hey, I'll create stuff too. Woo! Let's see what I can do,
Heck yeah. I think it's like, I want to be in your thing, but until then, I'm going to keep myself busy with my thing.
Yeah, right.
That's
and then you're ready to go. You're always ready to go. Plus, and I think, okay, so just let me ask you one more thing. One of the challenges in this business that we're in is keeping yourself upbeat and happy and creatively active and not having a voice in your head that's going, why are you doing that? Or that's not good enough and all that stuff. So how do you do that on a daily basis? How do you maintain your I'm going to say mental stability, I guess, or enthusiasm? I guess I'll say enthusiasm. How do you maintain your enthusiasm when there's a lot of ups and downs?
Yeah, no, it's true. I do a lot. I do a lot
You
to
do.
maintain. I actually have my own podcast, Lit,
Yes, you
is
do.
about
That's
things
really
that
good.
light me up. And I
Yeah.
just put out a podcast last week about my manifestation manual.
Okay.
What all the things I do to stay in the high vibration, because there's no way I can create if I'm like,
Yeah.
like, so it's just gotta, I mean, I'm a big fan of the M's. Every day I do meditation, Mother Nature. I go in Mother Nature. I do some kind of motion. I usually do a walk or a dance or a yoga, meal prep, some kind of stuff. So I'm not eating a bunch of garbage. I do mentor stuff. I'll listen to something inspiring or talk to Maria Bamford or one of my mentors. I don't do things alone. I ask for help. I try to reward the effort I am making by doing something fun now, not waiting for my life to begin until I think I've earned it. I reward things great and small and try to be my own cheerleader. So I'm not like going around being like a validation vampire, like validate me, so I can create from that space of like, I'm coming from a full cup, instead of like, I need something from you. It's like, no, I'm good and I'm offering you from my overflow.
I love that.
Kind of maintaining that high vibration. Of course, I make some time every day to do murder.
Of course.
All the M's, Joe.
Murder. All right. We love murder around here.
Meditation.
Mother Earth.
Mystery. I should say mystery. Murder mystery. No. Okay. Meditation.
Yeah.
Motion. Because you're getting in your body, right? That's where your instinct.
We're going to do that in a second. Yeah.
Creative instinct, and you can't get in your creative instinct if you're like hunched over, angry. Meditation, motion, Mother Nature, meal prep, mentors.
There's a lot of M's.
There's a lot of M's. You want to have muse. That's the most important.
Muse.
If you are saying you're a writer or a creative, the pie chart of your time has to go to creating. That means like showing up for your art, be it only 10 minutes a day. I like to set a low bar goal. So that way, if I end up doing more, it's great, but I'm not going to be beating myself up all day. Like, you didn't do 4 hours. But show up to the muse and say, you know what? I'm here for you. I'm here to channel, and setting that timer and showing up like it's a job, and then taking those actions. Who can I call? How can I move this story forward? And then again, the rewards is the most important part, and the having fun. Just have some fun. Find a tribe, find some friends, and make it fun, and don't wait on your life to start until XYZ success thing happens. Just like be in that success now,
I love that so much. Okay, we're going to end on that, and we're going to go into the dance break. I have this fun dance break today. In fact, this is a song that one of our viewers, Matt Wright, who's on now, he suggested this song. And then I looked up the song on YouTube, and I found someone covering it. And it was a stand-up. It's a stand-up that I know from going to the Fourth Wall. His name is G Mac. He's a guitarist, an incredible guitarist, and like a world-class jazz musician. And I knew he talked about it in his stand-up, but I didn't know the level to which this guy has been working. I'll just say he was born in Portland, Oregon. He's first discovered his love for music at the age of 9. 2 years later, while listening to a George Benson record, G Mac was inspired to try the guitar. So he moved to Los Angeles in 1984. Shortly thereafter, R&B singer Cheryl Lynn offered G Mac the chance to accompany her on tour. After a friend arranged a meeting with the legendary R&B group, The Whispers, Mac went on to write and produce the song Forever Love from The Whispers' certified gold album, More the Night. But anyway, then he's gone on to work with Stevie Wonder, recorded with Stevie Wonder, Mary J. Blige, Jay-Z, Jamie Foxx, Brandy, and it goes on and on and on. And then he's also been doing comedy. And he performs jazz and also does comedy. So anyway.
You know what? This is very cool. And by the way, I think dancing is the number one thing you can do for your art. My mom and I are big dancers. My mom raised me like dancing to Walt Disney records. And get in your body and have fun. All the answers are in your body. Just like get in it and let it loose.
I agree with you so much. That's why we do this dancing at the end of the show, because I think it just sets us onto into a good body connection. Once we've been doing this for a while, and let's get connected with our bodies, because I think so many people are living from the neck up, that they forget they have a body, especially in front of computers and this and that. So take the time to dance. We're going to take a couple of minutes to dance, and then we're going to end the show. We're going to be listening to G-Mac. He gave us the rights to play this on the show, so I really appreciate it, G-Mac. Let's get this thing going. Thanks so much, Melinda, for being on the show.
Oh, my
been an absolute
pleasure.
gift.
Thank you for having me. I love learning people's creative process. That's what I do in my podcast also. I love people who are making their dreams come true. And it looks like you're making your dreams come true, Joel.
We're doing it.
So proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Sissy Strut, baby.
Yes, Sissy Strut. All right, you're up.
You can go to New Orleans. Let's go to New Orleans, man.
It's dance time.
What's up, Sigaboo?
Yeah. Dance time.
This one for you, homie. Yeah, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Here we go.
There you count it how you feel, man. Count it how you feel.
It's going to be real jazzy. It's going to be so cool.
I start the funk.
Here we go. That's him. That's G-Mac there. Oh, yeah. All right, we have a real dancer here today. This is great. Love it. This is a great song. I'll try and be quiet.
Guys, I feel like a lot of people on your thing, they just like bob their heads. They're like, I'm like,
get up. Yeah, that's right. I appreciate it.
Thanks, love. Be love.
Be love. I love the vibe of this. G-Mac attack. Yeah, he's great. Thanks so much for being on the show. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks G-Mac for sending us on out for a nice weekend. And we'll see you all next week on Lunch Therapy.